All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Kentucky basketball getting very, very active in the transfer portal. We have 4 players for you here today. We're going to have 4 more tomorrow. Jeremy Roach of Duke, Koby Brea of Dayton, Aiden Mahaney of St. Mary's, and then Great Osabor of Utah State. Let's start here with the 4-year point guard out of Duke, Jeremy Roach. I think the first thing we need to note about Roach is he is just a dog. He was a very good point guard for the Blue Devils this past season. Statistically, we're going to dive into a ton of things, but on the surface, I just want to say this is a veteran point guard that plays like a senior and really took his game to another level in 2023 through the 24 season. Just plays like he understands the offense, what's going on out there, how to execute in clutch moments, and again, statistically took a big boost this past year. In his junior year, we'll start here with those stats first. 13.6 points per game, 3 assists per contest, 2.5 rebounds per contest, while only shooting 42.7% from the floor and 34.3% from deep. Slightly above average three-point shooting, but not great numbers. And then he came back for his senior season, did the 6'2", 175-pound point guard. 14 points, 2.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, while also shooting 47% from the floor and 42.9% from deep, almost 43% from deep, a massive improvement. And he's gotten better every single year in college on top of this. You go and look at some of his statistics shooting the basketball. He shoots 62% at the rim. That's 34% of his field goal attempts. He can really drive. He's excellent off of ball screens. He's also a really good spot-up scorer, which we'll get to in a second. He shoots 46% on left wing threes. That's 16% of his shot attempts. Really solid at the left side of the floor. He's an average mid-range shooter, 32% from the left, 39% from the right side of the floor. He's also an average right wing shooter from threes, 33% there. So he really does his damage at the rim on the left side of the basketball court shooting. Really, really good off of ball screens, but also great in catch and shoot situations as well. He shot 68% effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot. That's in the 96th percentile of all college basketball players this past year. So we're diving into these numbers. He's a really good point guard, just a physical, hard-nosed, understands how to play the game at a high-level point guard coming out of Duke, a very good program. He's a good three-point shooter, has dramatically improved this past year. He's a scorer. He's a distributor. He has a 17% assist rate. He can get to the rim. He can catch and shoot. Again, really good off of ball screens as well. If you watch him, really solid getting downhill and finishing consistently. Just plays like a senior. Spot-up wise, 94th percentile of spot-up scores. So he can catch and shoot off of ball screens. He can spot up and knock things down or drive it to the rim. He is just a very versatile scorer with a little bit of a mid-range game to boot. He could play it with tempo. I think he can handle the ball. He's very, very smart, has a high basketball IQ. Again, you can just see it in the way that he plays the game. Jeremy Roach from Duke would be an excellent addition. But let me tell you about somebody else that I'm also fired up about. I'm going to talk about him for a while. He may be a reason why this episode runs long today. Koby Brea from Dayton. Koby Brea is an excellent, and I mean excellent, three-point shooter. The dude is unconscious from all over the floor. 45% on right wing threes. That makes up 30% of his field goal attempts. 44% on right corner threes. 11% of his field goal attempts. And you're like, that's good, but it's not like Reed Shepherd good, right? 54% on left wing threes, 21% of his shot attempts. Like, okay, that's better than Reed Shepherd. 56% on left corner threes, 19% of his field goal attempts. 45, 44, 54, 56% across the board, which comes out to an average, by the way, of 49.8% from three. He shoots 51% from the floor. And if you thought all those numbers were great, he also shoots 65% at the rim as a guard. 9% of his field goal attempts. The man is built to score the basketball. At 6'6", 175 pounds, the man is insane. I think KenPom actually has him listed over 200, so he's got a little bit more weight to him. And you may say, okay, awesome. Would love to have Koby. This is the player that I would love to have in the portal the most, because it just screams Mark Pope offense to me. Get this kid on campus right now. Kentucky's contacted him. They need to get this kid. He would be an excellent small forward. I know a lot of us are going to talk about the excitement about Liam McNeely, which I will discuss here in a second. I think he's the best pure shooter in the 2024 class. Brea, alongside him, or just having Brea, period, would really do some major damage against opponents. The only concern that I have here with this guy is that if he's given a larger role, the production may dip, and even if it does dip, it's still going to be pretty good. I mean, if it dips 10% across the board, he's still a 39% three-point shooter, which is still great. That's still very good. Brea was not utilized a ton at Dayton. Dayton had Deron Holmes, they had Kobe Elvis, they had Nate Santos, Enoch Cheeks in their that's a funny name, in their starting five alongside Brea. And he was utilized the least out of those five players, used on 14.2% of possessions. Now, he got the third most shots on the team in terms of percentage when he was on the court. But he was not a highly utilized player. They really did pick and choose his spots well. So, if given more tempo, which Dayton simply did not play with, they were one of the slowest teams in the nation last year. If given more tempo, more freedom to shoot, does Brea's statistical production take a dip? And I'd be curious to see that. Even if it does, though, he's still great. Hey, one more stat here. 83% effective field goal percentage in catch and shoot situations. 83% effective field goal percentage whenever he is just catching the ball and shooting the ball, no dribbling. That's the best in the country. That was the best in the nation. I would love nothing more than a Koby Brea, Reed Sheppard backcourt. That would be beautiful. I would adore that. That I think Kentucky fans would adore that. That would be an amazing outcome for Kentucky. That would be the best shooting backcourt I think we have seen in college basketball, maybe ever. Final player here. Before we get to Grado Sabor, who we've already talked about on the show. Aiden Mahaney of St. Mary's. 48% at the rim, 27% field goal attempts, 27% of his field goal attempts. He shoots 33% on right break threes. He shoots 36% on left break threes. He has a 15% assist rate. All of those numbers relative to Brea are, not phenomenal. But if you look at the previous year, statistically, he was a lot better. He shot 40% from deep just a season ago at St. Mary's. He averaged the same amount of points, 13.9 points per game, 2 assists, 2.1 rebounds. Good foul line shooter as well, shot 81% this year. I think this kid has been a little inconsistent on and off during his 2 years with the Gales. But I think that Mahaney, coming into his junior season, he would also be somebody that fits really well into the Mark Pope system, just kind of somebody that can be off ball, that can knock down shots, and whenever he's on ball, I think he can create some stuff for himself. The only weakness here is honestly that aspect of his game. He's 37% effective field goal percentage off the dribble. That's 19th percentile in the nation. That's just straight up awful. Way better as a spot-up shooter. This is somebody Kentucky could use off-ball, maybe with somebody like Sheppard or Brea running the stuff. I mean, Brea was honestly better on-ball than Mahaney would be, just looking at some of his statistics here. So Aiden Mahaney, another player that I would not be mad at. Mahaney for 2 years was really solid at St. Mary's, and he could have averaged a lot more points had they if they did not play with literally one of the 3 slowest paces in the country. They played so slow last year. So Mahaney, I think, would statistically take a jump in a Mark Pope system.